There's going to be thunderstorms, thunder and lightning, keep indoors. Next minute we've got a heat wave. Right, and if you remember, I done the very same when we went to Dumfries. It was going to be flooding, horrendous, don't go to Dumfries, and the weather was like this, right? But anyway, I don't want to moan about them, you know, because we know they're totally biased, but I'll tell you one thing, they really are. Bloody cowards. Cowards are terrified for us. They're treating us now as if we don't exist. We've really been wiped off the face of the earth as far as that mob are concerned. You know why? Because they're bloody terrified. I'll tell you why. They're well over, there's 70% of us now are going to demand independence, right? But we'll wait to see what gets voted in soon, right? And then we'll throw down the gauntlet and teach them a lesson. And I'm sure the SNP are going to come out soon and lead us. If no, we'll just march on ourselves, right? And listen, I love yous all, right? We're all diverse. I put up a post during the week. It was tongue-in-cheek. It was saying we're not all totally sane, have we? And that's what makes us different, right? We're a mix of people, and I love it. A diverse people. A lot is with Irish blood and English blood in us, right? But we're going to march to victory, and that's it. Hi there. Okay. Viva Scotland!
Next up is Govan's own TV Tam.
Alright folks, alright the BBC, I'm no paying your licence fee.
His name's Tam.
Situation being, there's a lot that goes on inside your reorganisation that I don't agree with. First and foremost, I want to talk about a wee hidden poll for Epsom Murray. Hidden for the people of Scotland, compiled by a Tory government, brushed out the airwaves by the BBC. Second point I want to make is Jimmy Savile, guys like that. I'm sorry, I'm no paying for people like that. I was a single parent bringing up my lassie on my own, do you know what I mean? And lo and behold, there is that issue where my kid enjoys the TV. She used to watch guys like Jimmy Savile. Lo and behold, we find out what's going on there. So I'm sorry to say, because of that sole reason, I refuse point blank to pay anything towards buildings like that. I will stress as well there is the issue that what goes on in our news, Scotland's bad, Scotland's crap, our services are mince. When you really look into reality though and you use these services, you'll see these are the best services in the world. My daughter's just managed to achieve herself a higher education. She's went through Stirling University. She's managed to get herself a BA in digital media. There is also the issue that she's went on to a master's degree. She wouldn't have got that if we'd have been in England, I will stress. This doesn't come. There's also the issue as well that I've suffered heart conditions, stress, anxiety, depression. And I've really got to stress that our NHS services bring me out the other side of that. Shining brightly, might I add. I received my medication from my doctor, not I mean for my heart conditions. It doesn't cost me a penny. I've got to thank my Scottish Government for that. And I've really got to stress all the stuff that we hear at the BBC regarding what's going on here in our country. Now, please mind, I've not even spoke about Brexit yet. I've not spoke about how our assets have been washed out the country by some Tory and oil tankers. We've not spoken about Iran, know what I mean, and what's going on there. And needless to say, we've all got our own wee chosen views about what's going on there. My issue being, follow the money. Remember that, David. Follow the money. I'll be a bra folks.
Okay folks, this wee bit's quite important. The police have informed us that there's a football game coming to a close just along the road there, and some of the fans will be getting directed along this way. So they've just told us to make everybody aware and to make sure that we don't get involved in any slagging matches or shenanigans which they may or may not come up with. So next up is one of the organisers, Graham Bell. He's going to come and say a few words. He's a bit reticent, he's shy, he's never done any public speaking before, but hey, who is? Come on, Graham.
Well,
This is totally unexpected. I didn't expect to be up here today, but hey ho, these things happen. Anyway, we've been trying to get things organised for a few months now, so I'm glad that you guys came along today. I'm glad to see at least some people coming out to support what we're trying to do with the protest against the BBC. The BBC is the biggest obstacle to our independence, as the state propagandists punting out crap day after day. And never mind marching, we should be getting behind these demos and putting the power of our movement against the BBC so we can actually move things forward. So, just to wrap up, I'll say thank you very much for attending. Have a nice day, enjoy the sun, and have a few pints after this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gail. That was short and sweet. That padded out the whole 10 minutes I was looking for. Folk, can we try and move up a wee bit? Try and move in a wee bit. The reason for that is if there is any problems, then the camera can quickly be swivelled and everybody's in one area where it can all be captured on camera in the event that there is any problems. We don't expect any problems. We don't expect really anything to be to transpire, if you like. Now, folks, we have always had a wee section when we do these things for an open mic, and where we invite members or attendees to come and say a few words. Is there anybody who would like to take the mic? David Milligan.
Go on, Chantal. Go on. Go on, Chantal.
Hi guys, right, my name's Chantal Addison and I'm mixed race. I'm half Scottish and half African. And I tell you what, I'm here to represent Africans for independent Scotland. Yeah. I think it's absolutely shocking the racism that we've actually received from down south, especially against all you guys as well. Do you know what I mean? All we want is to be freed from Westminster. And I don't think we should generally hate on unionists as well, because I'll tell you what, there are people as well, we should love them, we should show them love. Show them that we are all one, we should be all under one banner. All we want is freedom for Westminster. That's it, we have the right to choose who we want in charge, or make our own decisions, yeah? But I just wanted to come up and say I'm here to represent Africans for independent Scotland. Soar Alba.
Alapagubrath. Next up is David Milligan.
Just made it up that step. I'll get my breath again, right? Look, we're in front of the BBC. I think I'll change what I was talking about just for a moment. I think where we're congregating at these demos is wrong. I think, in actual fact, the next one we should do at the Buchanan Street steps. Do you agree? And on a busy Saturday afternoon. Do you agree? Right, okay. Now I'll talk to you about what I was going to talk to you about. Right. BBC, what's propaganda? What's the idea of propaganda? It's where you take, basically what is a modicum of the truth and you try to make it other than it actually is. You try to spin a story to be other than it actually is. Propaganda comes in many forms. Propaganda can be an outright slogan, or it can actually be where BBC Scotland decide not to air a particular slot showing us something good about Scotland, and instead put something that says something bad about Scotland. I hope you all understand that the propaganda has got many, many different layers, and that the normal person in the street won't recognise that. And unless you've spent your time looking at what the BBC are doing, you won't realise that. And therefore, it falls to you to tell the people round about you what propaganda actually is. There's the Professor Robertson from the West of Scotland University has done hours and hours, in actual fact now years of work in terms of BBC bias and propaganda. And what he's done is very relevant because we've got someone who is specialised on that subject. And what you should do is, he now has a blog, and go look up Professor Robertson, look up his blog and see what he's saying about it now. At one time he used to put out a little video, if you remember, talking about what had gone on, and then it went on to, he was putting out group posts, and now he's doing his own particular blog. So I do recommend, look up Professor Robertson from the West of Scotland University. That's really all I want to say. It's important that we tell our friends, it's important we tell our workmates what this crowd are doing, because, as David has said, this is our enemy. Not these individual people that work in the place, they're just trying to hold down a job. It's the people that's in charge of the news and current affairs for the BBC that are being told what goes in and what goes out, to create a particular narrative that is against the people of Scotland and therefore against our rightful independence. Okay.
Next up in our open mic session is going to be Nicola's #1 comrade. That's the man's Facebook handle and Twitter handle. I'm going to let him take the floor.
Thank you very much. I haven't prepared anything for you, and I would like to actually address you as fellow comrades. A lot of people suggest that there are no left people in the SNP. Personally, that's a load of shite. I'm actually the vice convener of the SNP Socialists, so you know, I mean, okay, we only have maybe about 250 members, 250 followers, but at the end of the day, if you believe in fairness and equality, social justice, then you've got a wee bit of socialism in you somewhere. You just need to dig a wee bit deeper for it. What I actually want to talk about today is, why does the BBC extort money from its viewers? I don't have Sky, I don't have cable, and I don't pay for any of those. I have a telly, but I don't watch the BBC. So why should it not be on a pay-per-view basis? There are many wonderful platforms that we have got that we can derive our newsfeed from. We've got Broadcasting Scotland, we've got Independence Live, we've got excellent bloggers like Peter Bell and Jaggett and IndyCar Gordon Ross. That's your news outlets. That's the news outlets that are bringing the news to you. Unadulterated news, proper news. Things that they actually believe in, things that are actually reported without the bastardisation of that company in there. And that company, it is actually not their fault. That company is ruled and controlled by the Tory party. It is the establishment that is pulling its strings. And because it needs money, when they ask how high to jump, they ask, can we go any higher for you? Because they are nothing but lapdogs. And that is it. So it is an actual choice of your own opinion to say, I don't want your media in my house, I don't watch it, so therefore I'm not paying it. It's everybody's right to choose what is it. You know, if you want to go mad, nude, skinny dipping in the Clyde, that's up to yourself. You know the dangers, Camden Hen. You know the dangers, but it is your human right in order to do so. So it should be your human right not to pay an extortion fee from a company that you don't watch. Thank you very much, folks.
Thank you very much. And next up to speak will be Eva Gerber from Germans for Scottish Independence. Herzlich willkommen.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for having me here. I enjoy every day and every moment with you guys. Everyone is so nice, and I'm very well welcomed by everyone. I'm thanking. So, independent Scotland, from Germany to Scotland by bike. Me as a German, I want to live here in Scotland like in any other European country. And when I tried to ask, they told me, no, you have to ask Westminster because of the Brexit. And since I've followed this independent movement from the first beginning, from Germany, I always recognized that it was not the people from Scotland who were betrayed by the media, who told them, oh, it's not as many people want you to be independent. And for me as a German, I knew that there was something in the background going on, that people had been misled, misinformed and scared, so they would not vote for Scottish independence. And now in our time that England wants to leave by Brexit, my impression is I don't want to lose another European country. We don't want to lose another European country out of our family with our values, and I hope that Wales and Ireland will do the same actually. So it's up to England to stay outside of Europe. It's their business right now, their choice. They can stay there, but we as European family, I want us to stick together and help each other by staying strong and keeping up the trade between Germany and Scotland as well, and make it even larger, so the Scotland has the possibility to finance its independence, what's very important. And I see right now in Europe Parliament that the leading person will be a German person who really likes Nicola Sturgeon's work for the independence, and I really truly believe that once we are done with independence, we are there, Scotland has a bright future. Bright future without the Union, bright future without Westminster, strong enough, educated enough, big enough. And we are here for you guys as a European family, and like I said, I see even in the European Parliament, you become more respect, more love, more well treated than ever in the UK. So thank you, and that's my mission, that's my vision, and yes, have a nice day.
John, thank you. Dankeschön. Viel Spaß an der Reise. Right, would anybody else like to say a few words on the open mic? Come on, where's all the volunteers? No, is that it? I guess it's me then. I guess it's time for me to bump my gums about the BBC. Would you like another word, Pat? Okay, then I'll get to the BBC.
Just to help you out, David. Listen, folks, what I forgot to mention in my address to you earlier, because I wasn't prepared. We have media against us in the UK, we know that. But we haven't promoted our own media, our Broadcasting Scotland, our Gordon Ross, Wings Over Scotland, any media that we've got. Independence Live, definitely, because I do a wee bit for Independence Live as well. Indie Live Radio, definitely. We have the means. We have the means. We need to use it. Scottish Independence Television, whatever medium we have to use that as a counter to this propaganda machine. So I'm putting a call out there. We've even got the Independence poet here, Paul Colvin. Now, if we don't use these things to the maximum, they continue to dominate our airspace. We have airspace. Let's make sure we use it and we support it and we make it ours completely.
Switch off the BBC, folks. It's that simple. Cancel your licence fee. Alright, that's not a bad message. Cancel your TV licence. I don't have a TV licence. Don't watch television. Last time I stood up here and gave a speech, spoke about BBC Radio Scotland, especially Good Morning Scotland, which is an absolute disgrace. Now, people who are up as early as me will understand that between 6 and 7 in the morning, you will actually get some news on BBC Radio Scotland, Good Morning Scotland. Once you get to 7:30 and the people are getting out of their beds to put their children out to school and to climb in their cars to go to work, the news disappears. You get flannel and you get filling. That's what you get. It's an absolute disgrace. And at the moment, I've spoken about this before, they have a position of just blanking Scotland's major political party, the SNP. You will get things like we have a statement from the SNP as opposed to having an actual minister come and speak. Or we will get told that there was nobody available. But when we go to our branch meetings and we ask why there was nobody available, we get told, of course, there's always somebody available. There's always somebody available. It might not be the minister for that brief, but there's always a civil servant that can come up and have a word who works on that brief with the minister. Or there's researchers for these ministers that could have a word. Or there are other members of the political party who could fill that brief briefly. The omission, propaganda by omission for the BBC is phenomenal. I wrote a wee thing a couple of weeks ago where I said, has the rest of the world disappeared? Where did South America go? Has it flitted to Mars? Where did the Far East go? Has it moved to the moon? Where is the Middle East gone? I mean, we know about the atrocities in Yemen. We know about what's going on in the Sudan, but we don't know about it from the BBC. We don't. We don't get any outside news. We are now in a position where the BBC have moved from propaganda to mushroom farming. Mushroom farming being a term that's out there for keeping the people in the dark and feeding them manure. And that's exactly what we're getting. There'd be as well no broadcasting at all. They could just stick up pictures of fluffy kittens. Because that's what they give us. Fluffy, bloody kittens. And then, of course, when it comes to Scottish affairs, I've said this before, I mean, they are really trying their very best to reintroduce the cringe. They would have us believe that every single institution in Scotland is a failure. Every single one. NHS, education, policing, transport, infrastructure, everything. These people would have us believe that everything in Scotland is substandard. Whereas, of course, in fact, we know that when we go and check the rubbish that comes out of this place, we discover that they are selectively picking areas where there is a shortfall. There's no telling us about how wonderful the rest of the services are functioning. So let's say there's a report out on the NHS. A great example, and I was speaking to this, the Independence radio, live radio about this, was the two premature babies who died in the Queen Elizabeth maternity unit. Now this was linked to pigeon poo. Wonderful. Yeah, unless you read the coroner's report. And then you'd realise that it didn't matter what sort of infection these premature babies got. Tragic as it was, they were never going to make it. They were so premature and so weak, they just weren't going to make it. But they took those tragedies and used them as a club to beat the Scottish Government over the head. That is an outrage. Those parents were already in grief. Those parents were already suffering. And these people, they used that as a club to beat the government. It was a disgrace. It was an absolute outrage. Now, Good Morning Scotland is a phenomenal programme. Absolutely wonderful. I mean, the temptation I'll have to put my boot through my truck windscreen and through my radio every day, and I listen to it every day. is absolutely phenomenal. It really is. Now, the BBC auntie, not just that she's wearing jackboots, she's actually carrying a club. She's carrying a club. It's not just jackboots, it's not just the nasty letters that being sent to people, the nasty letters that say, we will prosecute you if you don't buy a TV licence. Hey BBC, I don't have a TV, what do you want a licence for? I don't need your bloody letters. I've told you I don't have a TV. So why are you sending me these bloody letters? And they're always sent to me. You know, I get letters in monthly telling me I am going to be criminalised because I don't have a TV licence. I don't want a TV licence. I would advise everybody to get rid of their TV licences. I would advise absolutely everybody to cancel their TV licences. The best way to deal with these people is to ignore them. The best way to deal with these people is to withdraw their funding. The best way to deal with these people is to challenge them. We don't have many tools for challenging them. We have, what's this, about 50, 60 people here. We have withdrawn the television licence. And we have turning it off. The most effective tool we have is turning it off. Now, one of our earlier speakers spoke about Donalda. Wonderful Donalda. She was coming to Scotland to sort it out. She was coming to sort the mess out. And of course, the Scottish people were demanding a Scottish 6. So what did she do? She set up a television channel and gave us a Scottish 9. The channel was set up to fail. As the gentleman for Independence Radios, Live Radios pointed out, the budget for the set of EastEnders was bigger than the budget for that television channel. £30 million. And then of course they put the current affairs and news programmes on at a time when it was up against every mainstream big time programme. Whether it be the BBC's own costume dramas, which they do wonderfully well, or whether it's, I don't watch television, so what is it, Big Brother, Love Island, what else? EastEnders, Coronation Street, Emmerdale. So they're up against these programmes that have been established for 30 or 40 years. Are the big programmes like the big popular programmes, what's the name for it? Reality television, is that the name for it? I don't think there's much reality in it. There's reality television. So, I mean, that organisation there have deliberately set about to demonise the Scottish Government and undermine the confidence of the Scottish people in their own institutions and in their own abilities to run their own affairs. So even though we know we have got a better education system than anywhere else in these islands, even though we have a better NHS than anywhere else in these islands, we have less crime than anywhere else in these islands, because we've got a police force than anywhere else in these islands. Right across all of our institutions, we have better performing institutions than anywhere else on these islands. But this lot back there will have us believe that Scotland is crumbling and that the people are absolutely rubbish at running our own affairs. It's imperative that they make us believe that we can't run our own affairs. The reason for that is because if we believe we can run our own affairs, then independence is inevitable. What they don't realise is it's inevitable anyway. And these people are making it easy. They are making it very easy. I mean, if you take, I listen to BBC Radio Scotland every morning, the listening figures are only about 60,000 a day per programme. They are no reaching that many people through the radio station. Through their television station, I believe they reach right across their nation. I don't watch the news, so I can't really comment on the TV news. I can only comment on GMS. But as I say, that institution there is our number one enemy. They are enemy of the people of Scotland. It's their business to reintroduce the cringe. There were a lot of people here know what I mean about the cringe. After 1979, it actually affected the health of the people. They knocked the confidence out of the people in 1979, and that was rapidly followed by Thatcher and deindustrialisation, and that really ripped the heart out of the place. The Scottish Parliament has given the heart back to the people. It has given the confidence back to the people. It has improved enormously every one of our lives, whether it be free prescription, Tam's daughters free higher education. No doubt you've all used NHS services. Young David's disability problems. They have improved all of our lives immensely. Even if it's just taking away the toll costs to get from Fife across the water into Edinburgh, saving people 400 quid a year. That improved the people of Fife's lives immensely. It also put more money into Fife economy, because they had 400 quid a year more to spend. And that money, poor people spend the money. Poor people don't hoard it. I mean, that's a good example as well. Oi, BBC, what happened to the Panama Papers and the Paradise Papers? Huh? You know, where is your documentary on the Queen squirreling millions and billions of pounds away in tax havens? Where is your documentary on Osborne's family? Where is your documentary on Cameron's family? Where is your documentary on all these people who have been squirreling away the money that should be paid in taxes here in the UK? These people are actually in charge of the UK and they don't pay their taxes here. Where is your documentary on that, BBC? Where is the public interest in that? There is a public interest in that, so, you know, it would be good. Like Gwen says, we need you to either step up with plate or get out the road. Our preference is that you get out the road. Our preference would be to get rid of you. As to Westminster, and of course the refusal to devolve broadcasting, well, that's quite deliberate. If you can keep the people in the dark but denying them the ability to speak to themselves, then you can deny the people any advancement whatsoever, whether it be independence or anything. If you stop the conversation amongst ourselves, if we don't have the ability to speak to ourselves and have a conversation with ourselves, then you have basically handcuffed the nation. And that's why they won't devolve broadcasting. Now, any type of broadcasting licence in Scotland comes from Westminster. A good example was prior to the 2014 referendum, almost every radio station in Scotland was threatened. Toe the line, we'll take your licence. They all get sold to English companies. There isn't a broadcaster left here, an independent. Radio Quay, it's owned by an English company. Real Radio, what's it called now? Heart FM or something like that. Before that it was Scotty FM. All threatened. All threatened. Toe the line, lose your licence. So they sold out. They sold themselves to Birmingham-based and London-based companies. It was untenable for them to carry on. This is the sort of thing that goes on in the background that we don't see. That's just the way that these people organise, and that's the way that they have control. These people set the agenda. They set the agenda for us all. Whether we notice it or no, whether it's conscious or unconscious. A great example is how they like to conflate the nation and the country with the UK and Scotland. A deliberate ploy to confuse people. In fact, it's been going on for so long that even our own politicians fall for it. We'll hear people like Nicola Sturgeon referring to the UK as a country. The UK is not a country, it's a union. It's never been a country, you know, and we have to call the people out on this, because that sort of soft propaganda works. It really works. So that building, that institution is our enemy. That is our number one enemy. There's nobody in there, Bill. It's Sunday. They are public enemy number one for all sorts of reasons. For a start, they obviously set the agenda. They decide what's the main headlines, what's the topic of discussion for the day. Another cracker. Anybody ever listen to Call Quay in the morning? Conservative Quay? Anybody? Everything that's going on at the moment, Brexit, what's going on in the Middle East, the Far East, South America, what did he say? And what's the normal topic for this discussion? When there's something big comes on, It'll be breastfeeding. You know, if there's something massive happening in the Brexit debate, instead of the TV, the debate hour in the morning being turned over to that political agenda of the day, we will get cars versus cyclists. Ingrowing toenails, aye, that wouldn't surprise me. But the other thing, before I finish up, what I will say is, they are quite cyclical. They are very cyclical. It'll go from the NHS bad, SNP NHS bad, then it'll go police, SNP bad, education, SNP bad, and it's cyclical. You'll get a couple of months of each. And then when things are really bad, they'll get the figures for England and portray them as being the Scottish figures. They are wonderful. They are really the top. As I say, they went beyond propaganda now. They have went beyond peddling tripe now. They've just went full on mushroom farming. Right, that's all I've got to say. Anybody else want a word? Young David, you can have another word. Right, John.
You know, they met recently, this mob here, to discuss freedom of the press along with the Tory government and banned RT and Sputnik television. How hypocritical is that? Right, I'm banned.
Why is Isabella Oakeshott not in jail like Assange?
So, I spoke a little bit earlier, but I'd just like to say something. And I know it's a Sunday, and there's only going to be a skeleton crew in there, and trust me, I've worked in a newsroom. You always have a skeleton crew in there, so there will be somebody listening. But listen, here's something I want everybody here to listen to, right? They can handcuff us. They can tell us, oh, SNP bad. They've reintroduced the cringe, and yeah, I'm from Yorkshire, and even I know what the cringe is. Oh, we're too poor, No, we can do it, all right? We need them lot to start talking about us in a positive manner, or they can just get up the road. I don't really care which one. But I'll tell you one thing, BBC. You can silence us. You can misrepresent our figures. You can say, oh, we're listening. But you will never, ever break us. Because up here, us lot, we're from everywhere in the world, right? But we all represent one thing. We are Scotland, and we are unbloody breakable.
Great for Independence Live Radio would like to say a word, and then we're going to finish up. I know it's a wee bit early, folks. Sit amongst, let's start. Would you like a word, sir? That's fine, no bother, you'll be next. We just keep the mic open, keep going, but you know, we're all together. Sit down, have a laugh, have a chat, and we'll just back for it if we've got points to make. Because I've ran out of speakers, simple as that. Right.
Okay, thanks very much indeed. Hadn't expected to speak, but have a few words on a couple of subjects. First of all, thank you for those who have recognised and appreciate the independence communication system, which is Independence Live, Broadcasting Scotland, Indie Live Radio. They are the alternative to that building. Really, it's a case a lot of people don't know about, and I'm going to specialise just now on indielive.radio. Because thanks to Fiona coming along with Independence Live, this is going to be available for people to download and watch. Those who are not watching live, they can always catch up later. But we also have the other side of Independence Live, and that's the radio side. And we need as much help as Independence Live because we need your input. We have so many hours in a day, and every single day that station is on the air, online, for you to listen to, for an alternative viewpoint of what's put across there. We have guest speakers giving alternative views like speakers are doing here. We have podcasts. I do the Indie Pram podcast. You probably know me from pushing the Indie Pram at the marches with my wife Sandra. But at the moment we have programmes during the day on a Monday, Monday, Wednesday and a Friday with Norrie Hunter. We've got Cactus doing a programme as well for about 5 hours. We've got podcasts from English Scots for Yes. We've got the Indie Pram podcast. We've got a few more podcasts from the Common Wheel. We need input from throughout Scotland, from Shetland right down to the Mull of Galloway. We need people to contribute with programmes, do a podcast, do a programme, send it in to us, interview people locally, because everyone lives local to somebody else. I'm trying to struggle just locally interviewing people, but I can't get up to Aberdeen or I can't get up to Stornoway except when I went up for the march there. So we need contributions from everyone, and thankfully this will be kept on online for people to watch, so the message will go out continually. We need your input to make the programme content so much more interesting, so it's not just playing music for about 12 or 13, 14 hours a day, that we have programmes that you put in, you record, send the file down, have a regular slot. It doesn't have to be once a week, even if it's once a month. Every single thing helps and builds up our programme content, gives information on what's happening in your local area. Fridays are normally on the Norrie Hunter Show. Yes Fridays. We need yes groups giving their input. Tell us what you're doing. Inspire other yes groups in other areas. So that's my bit of publicity for IndieLive.radio. We also have an app. If you've got a mobile phone, anybody here got a mobile phone? Yeah, just about everyone. You can download the IndieLive.radio app onto your phone for free, thanks to the hub up in Inverness, who provided that. So you can listen to us on your phone, you can listen on your PC or tablet. The other message I would like to give, I'm on the National Committee of English Scots for Yes. We are in a critical moment again. The media is starting to bring up the message that independence is anti-English. And it really stands for any ethnicity, any geographical, whether you're a New Scot from within Europe or outside the EU. We've got to get a message across, and I'm calling for everyone who's a member of English Scots for Yes. We agreed at National Committee that we need to publicise to every other member, because we're spread throughout Scotland, is to get the message across to encourage more English Scots for Yes, and the same goes for all the other nationalities, to get on media and tell the story that wanting independence is not anti-English or anti-European or anti-American or anti-Australian. We just want to be governed here and make the rules here under rules that we agree with. And so please get that message out. Thank you.
We have another speaker for you. It's Mr. Jim Hobbit, and he wants to say a few words.
Don't let the government choose your enemy. Choose the government as your enemy. What I'd like to say is what we're seeing is a lot of things that we're not hearing. And one of the things, I don't know if you remember, we had the EU elections and the SNP did very well. But all the BBC could talk about was Nigel fucking Farage. I'm sorry to swear, but that guy's a non-entity, And then it was all about the Tory sort of election and everything. And what I noticed, I watched that one, Have I Got News For You, just after the EU, and not once was SNP or even Scotland was mentioned. It was Nigel fucking Farage, So what I can't stand is the sort of the way that it's sort of you can only just get. I'm sorry, but what are we going to do about it? I mean, I'm just getting frustrated and waiting and for nothing. When this is when we need to fight. Well, I want. I don't care. It's getting to the point. I'm fed up with austerity, for God's sake, right? I'm fed up with austerity. I'm fed up with worrying about the NHS going. I'm worried about who's going to become the next Tory MP, but maybe I'll get a lot of people off their behinds, if that's the word that we want to call it, a big bahookie, and a good Scottish word, a big bahookie. Let's see more people. This is what's depressing me. And no matter how often I put things on Facebook and everything like that, I've done it for you, and I've sort of people. John Mellon, are you there, John? Yeah, I'm Jim McLeavy. I communicate with you a lot. And who else to do? David Llewellyn, and who was he? Yes. Anyway, thanks very much. Anyway, and don't let the government choose your enemy, but also, if you don't want a war, plan a revolution, and that's what we really want to do. Thank you very much.
That was colourful. Next up, David Leon's going to have a few words.
This is just a wee quick one. You'll probably have noticed that the BBC have got a regular commentator on most of the political programmes that have got to do with Brexit, called Isabel Oakshott. Are you paying her to come in this week, now that she's been outed as the person who's behind the scandal in America with the American embassy, because she happens to be shagging the person who is the leader of the Brexit party? And you've got it on this week. How much are you paying her?
My, the language is getting a bit colourful. Now, when we finish up, and we're not finishing up yet, but when we do finish up, we would like everybody to go over to the door of the BBC, and we would like Eva to bring her bike over to stand in front so that Billy can get his shot. Now, next up, I'm going to let Sci TV Tam come and do a wee reading of the assets and wealth that Scotland actually holds. It's just something, of course, that these people really don't want you to know. So, with us going out on Independence Live, this is a really useful piece of information to be put out there. So I'll hand you over to Tam.
Please excuse the fact I'm reading off my phone at the moment, guys. This is just a wee trip down where Scotland actually is in the world. Do you know Scotland is 32% of the total land area of the UK, 61% of the total sea area, 90% of all fresh water, 65% of all natural gas production, 96.5% of all crude oil production, 81% of all untapped coal reserves, 62% of all timber production, 46% of total forest area, 92% of all hydroelectric production, 40% of all wind, wave and solar energy production, 60% of all fish landed, 30% of all total beef herd, 20% of all total sheep herd, 9% of all total dairy herd, 10% of total pig herd, 15% of all cereal holdings, 20% of all potato holdings, 100% of a multi-billion pound Scottish whisky industry, 17 billion construction industry, 13 billion food and drinks industry, 10 billion business service industry, 9.3 billion chemical services industry, 9.3 billion tourism industry, 7 billion financial services industry, 5 billion aero services industry, 4.5 billion whisky exports, 3.1 billion life science industry, 350 million textile exports, and over 25% of all wind and wave energy potential in Europe. That for a skint nation, too wee, too poor, too stupid? I don't think so. How big a that?
Now, that was a lot of information to take in. I hope you were listening, BBC, because that's the sort of thing you should be telling the people of Scotland. That is the sort of thing you should be telling the people of Scotland. Folks, some of the photographers here would like to get a picture of us all, and with Eva and her bike at the doors of the BBC. Could we ask you to make your way over there? And take your salt tires with you. Somebody grab the Scottish, not British. Yes, 2 banner, please. Fiona, you're going to be able to swing that camera around all right? That's good. Come on, folks, make your way over. Let's get some shots in. I'm sure there's a few members of the press and some freelancers here that would like to get these photographs. That's all right, borrow one. Just borrow it. But see, folks, if you make your way out in front of the stairs, and we'll all get a photograph taken. Thank you. Come on, smile. Smile as if Scotland's already independent. You're missing your photo shoot.
Hold it. Do it again for you now.
Right, 3, 2, 1.
Good up, yeah.